Hello lords and ladies of YouTube, and welcome back to Nightly Gaming's Nightly Gaming and another episode of Kickstarter Roundup. So, moving right into our featured games of the week, I want to first talk about a game called Legends of Kaliesha by Boom Zap Entertainment. So, their little headline reads, an epic strategy game of world conquest with simultaneous turn-based multiplayer gameplay and no hot seat waiting. So this game reminds me somewhat of a fantasy-themed style Risk. There is a global map that you have to move units around and conquer and control in some way, shape, or form. So it looks like there's all sorts of strategies, twin and things like that, but what's really unique about this game from some other strategy games like Risk is a bit more of a unique strategic combat system. You design your own teams, they have different abilities, things like that, so you can actually be a little bit more strategic in how your units are set up and how your combat goes, which I think is a nice touch to a game that is otherwise kind of just a fantasy themed with some minor tweaks to, a relatively traditional strategy game. So it looks like it could be a good game to back if you've been looking for a fun, fairly straightforward strategy game that still has some good depth to it, especially if you want to play it with friends. It does have some good multiplayer mixed in there. So there's also a demo available if you want to play it out first, which is always a good thing on a Kickstarter because you actually get to see and play the beginnings of what is being made to see if the concept itself is even interesting to you. With that said, there is only 25 days left to back them, and I will leave a link for you down in the description below if you are interested. Moving on to our next game, though, I want to talk about a game called Tree Hugger by Mad Labyrinth Studios. So, their headline reads, Tree Hugger is a counter-tower defense style game following a druid who is trying to take back his land from wasteful kings. So what this game means by counter-tower defense is you still have to build up a base, but instead of creating towers and stuff to defend from monsters coming in, what you're doing is you're creating bases that summon the monsters that you then send down a path that is lined with turrets to try to go and kick out this evil king. So you're controlling the monster. So I admittedly enjoyed that role reversal. I enjoyed that kind of mixed up mechanic. Not to mention, I do enjoy the nature-themed fantasy setting that it takes place in. The trees and animals, in this fantastic world, magic, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of interesting things. There's also spells you can cast to assist your monsters, so there seems to be some decent strategy here with some nice, decent-looking graphics so far. So, if you're interested in backing them, there's 20 days left for you to do so, and once again, I will leave a link in the description below for you. But moving on to our third game, Pinball Labs by Thomas Kodlik. So their headline reads, recruiting the physics, visuals, and fun of real-world pinball for PC, Oculus Rift, HTC Vive, and virtual cabinets. So there isn't a ton to say about this one. It just looks like a fun pinball game. You get to design your own pinball machines, which is nice. And what's really interesting about this game is it being planned for VR games. Really is kind of an interesting feature, so you can actually feel like you're at the pinball machine. I loved pinball machines growing up, so just the idea of a good-looking pinball game that I can kind of mess around and make my own machines and things like that, it just seems like fun. With that said, there's 24 days left to back them, so if you're interested, check down below in the description. But moving on to our recommended game to back this week, I want to recommend a game called Valiant by Off Peak Games. So, their headline reads, multiplayer virtual reality combat featuring medieval mounted combat, created for HTC Vive and Oculus Rift. So this game reminds me kind of like Chivalry on horseback, in the sense that it is a fairly accurate medieval combat game, except for you're on horseback instead of walking around on foot. You can still use a variety of weapons like javelins, bows, and big lances and things like that. So there's some variety in the gameplay there. The game looks like it could be a lot of fun, especially with it coming out on VR, so you really feel like you're that knight riding around on horseback, fighting off all these other knights. It just seems like a lot of fun. I may be biased here since I do love the medieval combat style games, which is why I've played a good amount of Chivalry on this channel. I just enjoy that kind of thing. There's also already a good number of players who have downloaded and played the game's early versions on, you know, the different VR, Oculus forums and things like that, and they all seem to like it, which is really good for a game that's still this early in production. That means that there is a good, strong core there. So I personally would recommend that you back this game within the next 26 days that they have remaining in their campaign, and I'll leave a link in the description down below for you if you're interested. But with that, I want to ask you, what games do you think should have been on the list this week that I didn't put on, and what games do you think I put on that didn't deserve to be on the list? Let me know in the comment section down below. I'm always curious on what your guys' thoughts and opinions on those kinds of things are. Otherwise, if you enjoyed the video, click that like button. If you want to see more of my videos, you can check out my channel, and if you want to see more of my videos when I put them out, you can click that red subscribe button and be notified whenever I put out new videos, including Kickstarter Roundups every Saturday. Otherwise, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!